It is official that the pound-for-pound king, Terence "Bud" Crawford, has agreed in principle to face off against the 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar, first ballot Hall of Famer, Saul Canelo Alvarez. So Canelo Alvarez has agreed. Terence Crawford, we knew he was going to agree. And they're working out the details to showcase their talents. Riyadh season, Cinco de Mayo weekend in May.
Hate me, but I think it's a 50-50 fight.
Hell of a fight.
Hate me, but I think it's a 50-50 fight. It's really, really hard for me to see Canelo losing to Crawford. But it's also, there's things that I can see that Crawford is so good at.
Yeah.
That it's like, I can't see him not being able to be sharp and do that round after round, man.
Canelo versus Crawford, a showdown of skill and power. Can Crawford overcome the challenges of moving up in weight? Let's hear from the experts. Saber Longa believes Crawford's legendary talent might defy the odds against Canelo. But will the weight difference be too much for the welterweight champion to handle?
I think it happened in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, you know, is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But you know, Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, you can't.
Renowned boxing trainer Andre Rosier has weighed in on Terence Crawford potentially facing Canelo Alvarez. While Crawford is riding high after a welterweight victory, Rosier believes jumping up to face Canelo at a heavier weight might be a step too far.
The only thing he could possibly do at this point to regain that status is to beat someone of note in another weight class. And
Rosier admits that Crawford moving to 150 pounds could be a realistic challenge, but he strongly questions the idea of facing Canelo. He even calls it a dangerous leap to take.
54 is going to be enough for him. Him going up to fighting, quote unquote, if it should happen, Canelo, I don't see that ending well. It's just too much and too far to go. But that's what it will take.
Rosier's warning emphasizes the enormous challenge Crawford would face against a pound-for-pound star like Canelo, especially with such a significant weight disadvantage. What do you think? Is Crawford biting off more than he can handle? Or could he surprise the world once again? Canelo Alvarez has shared his thoughts on a potential fight with Terence Crawford, sparking excitement among boxing fans around the globe.
Yes, it is official that the pound-for-pound king, 4-division world champion, 2-division undisputed world champion, and reigning WBA junior middleweight world champion, superstar boxer, Terence "Bud" Crawford, future first ballot Hall of Famer, undefeated, 41 wins, no loss, no draw, 31 big wins by way of knockout, 37 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach, has agreed in principle. We knew he was going to agree to face off against the 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar, first ballot Hall of Famer, former undisputed super middleweight world champion, and reigning unified super middleweight world champion, Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Mexican boxing star Canelo Alvarez has hinted at his readiness to face Terence Crawford, generating excitement for what could become one of the most highly anticipated fights in boxing. This potential matchup would bring together two elite fighters at the peak of their careers.
Crawford's name keeps coming up, and I know he's a lot smaller than you. Is that a fight that you would ever consider under any circumstance?
You know, I always say if it's a fight.
The clash between Canelo and Crawford promises to be nothing short of monumental. Canelo, the undisputed super middleweight champion, has ruled his division with unmatched power and precision. Meanwhile, Crawford, hailed as one of the most skilled fighters of his generation, combines technical brilliance with strategic intelligence, earning him a top spot in the pound-for-pound rankings.
But I see he wants to fight. He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. No, Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but
Canelo Alvarez, the undisputed super middleweight champion, hasn't backed down from the idea of facing Terence Crawford in the ring. While Crawford's jump to a higher weight class has sparked debate, Canelo remains confident in his ability to dominate the smaller fighter. Speaking on Sway's Universe, he expressed his openness to the challenge, seeing it as an opportunity to make a bold statement.
Would be willing to pay whatever you want to fight Crawford.
Fine.
Yeah.
If he's willing to pay whatever I want, comes down.
That'll work. So if yeah, you're in. So if the numbers were right with Crawford, you'll do it.
Why not? Why not? I think Crawford, don't get me wrong, he's a great fighter. But for me, in my weight class, it's an easy fight. For me, easy money.
Canelo's comments reflect his belief that the weight difference gives him a significant advantage over Crawford. With a history of dominating elite opponents at super middleweight, Canelo seems to view the potential fight more as a financial opportunity than a risky challenge. However, for fans and analysts, Crawford's skills and determination could make this fight more unpredictable than Canelo expects. While Canelo Alvarez has shown interest in facing Terence Crawford, he also shared deeper thoughts on the matchup. He didn't shy away from acknowledging the challenges of facing a skilled opponent, like Crawford. Despite his reservations, the undisputed champion revealed that the fight could happen if the right conditions, especially financial ones, align.
Right? I'm in, because, you know, I don't like to fight guys like Crawford because he move a lot and the fight is not that great. I saw Crawford the last fight and he don't move that much now. So if the money is...
Canelo's comments highlight the challenges in making this fight happen. While he recognizes Crawford's talent, he remains confident in the natural advantages of his weight class. His remarks about money and stylistic preferences suggest that for Canelo, the fight is more about the spectacle and payday than the competitive appeal. This adds another layer to the debate. Can Crawford's skill overcome the weight difference? Or is Canelo justified in relying on the limits of weight classes? This statement also marks a shift for Canelo, who had previously expressed hesitation to face Crawford, arguing that defeating a smaller opponent wouldn't earn him the credit he deserved.
Everybody wants to fight me. Everybody calling me out and everything. And, you know, like I say, I have nothing to win with Crawford. 2-3 weights class. I respect Crawford. He's a great fighter. And I always say that, no disrespect him. But, you know, sometimes it's a little crazy that people talking about a small fighter like Charlo. He's big, which he is big, and everybody's talking about if I'm gonna face Crawford, fighter 147, who is smaller than Charlo. So no make sense when you guys say that right now. At the end of the day, I don't want to have credit to face Crawford, but you know, you never know. You never know in boxing. I'll go up and down and fight everybody out there. So it's possible. Why not? It's possible. And I can't go down anymore. But you know, like he say, you know, when they ask him for the Germonta fight, they don't want to get credit for that fight. It's the same for me. I don't need to take that fight because everybody's gonna say it's too small, and then, you know, he needs to enjoy it.
Meanwhile, Crawford has remained persistent in his pursuit of this matchup, ready to move up in weight classes to prove his dominance.
Canelo gets through Jamel, and then you guys fight. That fight would be gigantic.
And it's crazy because, like, in the past interviews, I was like, man, Canelo too big, man. It's weight classes for a reason. I was like, nah. But in my mind, in my heart, I don't think nobody too big, you know, especially in a fight. I'm a fighter. But like, I was thinking like, man, it could happen. So you start really sitting down like, man, that fight maybe can happen. Okay, so now you start.
Crawford knows he'll be at a size disadvantage against Canelo, acknowledging that size will be a key factor in the fight. Still, he's confident in his skills and believes he can use his boxing style to overcome this challenge.
But I'm faster, you know, so then you start doing the advantages. You know what I mean? But like, man, we right there.
Yeah.
We right there, you know what I mean? So I was like, man.
And it's not like he didn't go up and win as well.
Keith Thurman, a former world champion and now a sports analyst, recently explained why Terence Crawford might spot weaknesses in Canelo Alvarez. He pointed to Canelo's performance against Jermell Charlo, highlighting moments in the fight that could give Crawford confidence. Thurman's observations suggest that Crawford might be picking up on patterns that others might overlook.
When Canelo fought Charlo, besides the knockdown, Charlo was able to protect himself very well against Canelo's onslaught. The only problem was, while protecting himself, there was no offense.
Thurman pointed out how Charlo adjusted his defense to limit the damage after the knockdown, but also noted Charlo's lack of counterattacks, which let Canelo take control. He believes Crawford, known for his adaptability and offensive creativity, sees an opportunity to capitalize on these moments by combining solid defense with Canelo's aggression.
I believe, seeing what I saw, I believe Crawford saw the same thing. If Charlo can go so untouched by just being, you know, once he got dropped, you know, spider senses, boom, fully awakened, right? Boom. So now hands up, don't make no mistakes. So, you know, that's how it is. We saw it in the Munguia fight, you know, we saw it in the last fight. It's those little mistakes that end up having big consequences against Canelo, right?
Thurman's insight suggests that Crawford has been analyzing Canelo's recent fights to spot weaknesses in his offense. While Charlie relied mostly on defense to survive, Crawford might blend similar tactics with his own boxing style, aiming to not only neutralize Canelo's power, but also create scoring opportunities. However, Thurman also cautioned that any mistake against Canelo could quickly change the course of the fight.
Crawford is trash. Don't ever compare Crawford to Canelo again. Shout out young Triple G. He did his. I felt he won at least a draw. The judges, you weirdos, you guys suck ass. And Crawford, you're not pound for pound. Suck it. You never fought nobody good. You fought Spence that had a car accident.
Renowned sports analyst Stephen A. Smith recently shared his thoughts on the potential mega fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Known for his honest opinions, Smith broke down the clash, comparing Crawford's superior boxing skills to Canelo's power and physicality. While he recognized the greatness of both fighters, Smith pointed out the key factors that could decide the outcome of the fight.
Catches him, it could be trouble. But I would still say it would be a very interesting fight. I just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful. And I'm wondering whether he could stay away. Again, Crawford is the superior boxer. But if he can't hurt Canelo, you can't keep him off of him. And that's where the problem lies.
What do you think a win like that would do for Crawford? Would that put him up?
I think it was. He and I spoke about it. He and I spoke about it in Vegas.
Smith's analysis focuses on the crucial balance between skill and strength. He believes Crawford's technical ability could give Canelo trouble, but without the power to match, Canelo's relentless style might overpower him. Smith went on to break down Canelo's approach to fights, warning that if Crawford gets caught by one of Canelo's shots, it could be a serious risk.
Canelo is a very powerful individual who can get exposed by a boxer because every shot he throws, he's trying to make it a power shot. But to me, can Crawford hurt him? I would pick Crawford to win if he can box and stay away. I don't believe he can hurt Canelo. If Canelo catches him, it could be trouble. But I would still say it would be a very interesting fight. I just believe that Crawford hasn't been in the ring with anybody this powerful. And
Smith's prediction underscores the high stakes of this potential fight. On one side, Crawford's technical mastery could expose Canelo's reliance on power shots. On the other hand, Canelo's physicality and knockout ability could neutralize Crawford's finesse. Fans and analysts are buzzing about the matchup, and Smith's comments show how razor thin the margin is that will decide this historic fight. Despite the challenges, the potential showdown between Canelo and Crawford has captured the imagination of boxing fans. The mix of power, speed, skill, and charisma from both fighters sets the stage for what could be an unforgettable event. Welterweight. Contender Alexis Rocha, who has sparred with both Canelo and Crawford, offered a unique perspective on their potential clash. Having directly experienced their skills, Rocha shared his thoughts on the matchup, noting the physical differences, but also highlighting the strengths of both fighters.
I mean, Terence Crawford, yes, there is weight classes for a reason. Canelo is a lot bigger. Crawford has that, he also has a good size to him where he has that good size and he has that reach and he has that boxing IQ. That's the most important thing when it comes to a boxing game is the IQ. You know, I think Crawford will hold his own very good in that fight. But I will lean a little bit more towards Canelo given the fact that he's more experienced and he's been in it with bigger guys.
Rocha's analysis aligns with the common narrative about this fight. Canelo's size and power could present serious challenges for Crawford despite his superior boxing IQ and adaptability. For Rocha, the combination of Canelo's physicality and experience gives him the edge. His views add another layer to the ongoing debate. Will Crawford's skill be enough to overcome the natural advantages of a larger fighter? As for Canelo, he has yet to decide who his next opponent will be for 2025. But it's looking increasingly likely that Terence Crawford could be the one. Crawford has openly stated that he wants to fight Canelo and has directly challenged the Mexican, though he's still waiting for a response.
You serious about fighting Canelo Alvarez?
Of course.
I know you're serious, but I've got to ask you for the people that are watching.
Of course.
Are you confident that that fight is a fight that you can win?
Well, I'm always confident that I can win any fight that I step foot in the ring. You know, Canelo is a big, strong competitor. He's a great fighter. He's a future Hall of Famer. And that's what we in the game for, is to leave a legacy that will last, surpass our life.
Media outlets like FTV Boxing report that Crawford's name is on Canelo's list of possible opponents, with many suggesting he'd be the best option for a May return to the ring. However, the date and location of the fight at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas are still unconfirmed. Sean Porter, a former welterweight champion who has shared the ring with Crawford, has expressed concerns about Canelo stepping up to face Crawford. Having experienced Crawford's skills firsthand, Porter respects his boxing ability but worries that the size and power difference could present a major risk for Crawford in this potential fight.
That's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out, you know what I mean?
Porter's warning underscores the physical challenge Crawford would face against a fighter like Canelo, who has shown devastating power at higher weight classes. While Crawford's technical skills and adaptability are beyond question, Porter's concerns emphasize the danger of moving up to face such a much larger opponent. This adds to the ongoing debate. Does Crawford's skill set outweigh the risks? Or is he stepping into a fight where the odds are heavily stacked against him? Another key point to note is that trainer Robert Garcia has hinted at the matchup, and reports suggest that Crawford is on Canelo's short list for a Cinco de Mayo fight. While nothing is confirmed yet, rumors indicate that the fight could take place in Las Vegas. Talks of a potential May 2025 showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are gaining momentum, with Garcia hinting at the fight and confirming that Crawford is being considered by Canelo for this major event.
We'll get Terence Crawford. I think Crawford is looking at, just a huge fight with Canelo, and if he doesn't get it, he might not even fight anymore, because he's told me that before. But there's so many other fights out there too. We just take it fight by fight.
Reports have suggested that the fight between Canelo and Crawford could be moved to June, as that might be a better time to hold the event. However, nothing has been officially confirmed yet. Traditionally, May is the preferred month for Mexican fighters' pay-per-view events in the United States. While Crawford is a potential opponent, he's not the only option for Canelo's next defense of his unified super middleweight title. The WBC's #1 contender at 168 pounds, Chris Eubank Jr., is also a leading candidate, though the Golden Boy Promotions team has yet to officially name him as a mandatory challenger.
Been a Venus question. You get asked this all the time. I almost hate asking you, but you know, if someone's willing to put up the 250 million,
I mean,
would you negotiate down?
No less than 200.
No less than 200.
Ooh.
On the other hand, if Canelo is offered 200 million, he might be willing to face David Benavidez. As for Dimitri Bivol, he's still on the list for a possible rematch, but the boxer has stated that while he's open to facing Canelo, it's not his main focus right now, as he has other goals in mind.
I think Crawford, what will make sense? Like, there's a couple of names out there, Benavidez, but we know that's not gonna happen.
There are few true contenders left for Canelo to face outside of Benavidez and Crawford. A fight between Canelo and Crawford, especially if held in the US, could potentially break the $1 million pay-per-view sales barrier. Crawford's dominant win over Errol Spence was his most popular, selling 700,000 pay-per-views in the US alone. Canelo, meanwhile, has fought 16 pay-per-view events, selling a total of 11.6 million homes, generating nearly $1 billion in revenue. There's talk that a Saudi investor could fund the fight to take place in Las Vegas, but nothing is official yet. As always, money talks, and we know the vast sums that Saudi billionaires or even zillionaires are willing to offer athletes to secure the fights they want to see. Many still want to see Canelo versus Crawford, and it would undoubtedly be a thrilling matchup between two modern-day greats. Crawford, a 4-weight world champion, would have a significant size disadvantage, fighting Canelo at 168 pounds, but has previously said he'd take the challenge. Canelo, now 34, might have slowed slightly with age, potentially giving Crawford an opening for a slick performance and a decision win. However, Crawford at 37 could experience a decline at any moment, and this might not be the right fight for that to happen. If Crawford isn't the opponent in May, who will Canelo face? But if it is Canelo versus Crawford on May 3rd, it promises to be a daring battle of greatness, and the entire world will be watching. The big question remains, will Crawford's technical brilliance be enough to overcome Canelo's power, or is the size difference simply too much to overcome? Share your thoughts in the comments.